Hello, Perk213 here again, and this is a continuation of the Time to Perk series. Today we're looking at some of the modifications I have performed on my Westwind stove here, much of which was at the suggestion of Colorado Camper. And I think Hiram Cook also mentioned this, but I don't believe it's tested. Basically what I did was took the suggestion of taking this notch and lowering it. I believe Colorado Camper did a test earlier on a video where he took this down 1/4 of an inch. You can see this line right there was the original height of this line, and it's been moved down 1/2 an inch, and this also has been moved down correspondingly 1/2 an inch. I've also drilled some lightning holes. This is I believe a 1 1/8 inch diameter hole cut with a unibit. Basically, I just placed this large area washer in this area, splitting the difference between the top and bottom material and side to side, just kind of centering it in here to pick a spot to drill. Pretty simple operation. All this has definitely lightened up the stove noticeably, but I haven't been able to get a gram weight on it just yet. I'll do that shortly. I'll put that in the comments, or I'm sorry, the description section. I'm not quite done with this. I also plan to do another set of lightning holes in all 3 of these pads, but also I'm going to experiment with notching this area. Okay, now what that modification has done for us is basically lowered the burner position from its original, it was about right there, its original position, which gave a burner height of 3/4 of an inch between the top, or the holes of the burner and the bottom of the pot, and has lowered that 1/2 of an inch. So now we have a 1 1/4 inch distance between the burner and the top and the bottom of the pot. And although that's not quite as much as the 1 3/4 inch difference of having this oven upside down with the burner resting on the ground. And the purpose of today's test is to find out exactly how much improvement do we get in efficiency by just notching this 1/2 an inch. In the original position, you can see in the previous video, we had a 16-ounce boil test time of 8 minutes and 42 seconds, which was pretty slow just for 2 cups of water. The reverse position with the burner on the ground produced a time of 5 minutes and 27 seconds, which was a substantial improvement. So this being a compromise between the two, I would expect that we're going to get somewhere in between the 2 times, and we're going to find that out right now. Okay, now that we've got a nice little bloom, we're going to put the putt on, hit the timer, and just see how much improvement we get. While we're waiting, I'll give you a quick close-up shot of what we're talking about here. Good flame pattern. Okay, we just passed our upside down Westwind configuration time of 5 minutes and 27 seconds. We're still looking for a perk up here. Again, the criteria: 2 perks in a row that's violent enough to touch the top of the window, and time continues to run. Hopefully we'll beat that original time of 8 minutes and 42 seconds. The suspense is terrible. I hope it lasts. Well, I was a little slow on the button there. We actually had a perk at 6 minutes and 20 seconds. I'm about 7 seconds slow on pressing the button. That's pretty good. That's right in the middle of the 2 times. Significant improvement. 620 for this configuration as compared to the previous config of 8 minutes and 42 seconds. Yields roughly a 28% increase in efficiency, or 28% reduction in time, however you want to look at that. I certainly think that's a worthwhile mod, It didn't take but about 10 minutes to perform with a bandsaw and a unibit on a drill press. Certainly if you have those tools available to you, I highly recommend the modification. I also wanted to point out that the reason why I brought this down as well was so that the simmer ring can be properly used. If you just bring the middle notch down to lower the burner and leave this up half an inch, obviously this is going to conflict. The lid won't be able to be utilized as easily, and it'll end up cocked to the side. So whatever you do to this notch, be sure to do with this one, and that'll retain the usefulness of your simmer ring. Another thing I noticed about this stove that I don't think I've seen in any other videos, now that I mentioned the simmer ring notch, well, the stove can be assembled in a left-hand or right-hand configuration, and I'm not talking about turning it upside down. If you take the pieces, and it depends on how you put the first two pieces together. You notice this is now on the left side as oriented, but if you simply put the stove together the opposite direction, now it's on the right-hand side. So it depends on your personal preference. I'm personally right-handed, so I actually prefer the stove in this configuration so that the simmer ring can be opened to the right and modulated accordingly. I'll put the stove in here, and you can even modulate it on the stove. Just to prove that you can do that with the pot in place, once you get it to a boil, in my case I want to turn down the heat for percolation. I don't want to burn the coffee. About 1/8 of an inch of gap here is almost perfect. You slide that in and put her on. I think you can see the gap there. Okay, everything's reset. 32 ounces of water. We've got everything's nice and cool. Again, the ambient 70 degrees. Okay, we've got a quick blossom. We're going to put the 32 ounce pot on and see how the real deal would go. And we've got Perk. Yep, it's official. 10 minutes and 30 seconds. Looks like we get 32 ounces to percolate, and that's still pretty painful. The mini Trangia stove did the 32 ounces in 11 minutes and 2 seconds, and the reversed Westwind, the upside down Westwind stove, unmodified, 8 minutes and 51 seconds. That was the actual time to beat. Although 10 minutes and 30 seconds isn't too bad. And again, to show you that you can put the simmer ring on there unmodified, just like that. Simmer ring in action there. And you can tell we're still percolating perfectly. That won't burn any coffee. Okay, some quick math revealed that we also got a 28% increase in efficiency. So I think we've conclusively proven that burner height or flame height here is very critical. In this configuration, the burn height is 1 1/4 inches versus the 3/4 of an inch unmodified, dropping it a 1/2 inch. That makes it 1 1/4 inches. And the upside down configuration with the burner resting on the ground was 1 3/4 inches. So we're still 1/2 inch off, and I think that extra 1/2 inch is very critical. Or actually cooking something, you want a little less heat. You're not looking at a rapid boil, maximum performance scenario. This configuration would work perfectly. And if you wanted the absolute maximum performance, you'd simply turn this puppy upside down, making the flame height as distant and long as possible. Let that flame coalesce, and you know, as we learned from physical science and such, that the hottest part of that flame is going to be at the very tip where it comes together in a point. So the closer you can get to that maximum heat signature and spread the flame out just a little bit on the bottom of the pot, but not too much by pushing it down too close to the burner, you get an ideal configuration. I think that's it for now. Happy camping.